Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wa sallallahu ala nabiyyina Muhammadan wa ala alihi at-tahirin wa sahbihi ar-rashidin, wa amma ba'd. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Surely we belong to Allah, and surely to Him is all of our eventual returns. I have some notes written for a speech today, but I think that I'm just going to have a very candid discussion with you all about what's really at stake right now for the American Muslim community, what is at stake for the American public at large, and the importance of CAIR Michigan and what's going on right now. We have in the White House of these United States of America an inspiration for white supremacists. And it's not just the effects that it has on people of color here. He is an inspiration and a voice, a part of a worldwide movement, especially in Western civilizations, to demonize, dehumanize, marginalize, and eventually cleanse certain people out of certain populations. People that look like my children, people that look like your children, who feel they have no place here in these United States of America, Australia, the UK, Norway, New Zealand, etc. There's a lot at stake right now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. And it's important for us as intelligent people to understand the urgency of now. It's important for us to understand the urgency of now. Now, the value of CAIR Michigan and what's going on in this climate today, I want to tell you a quick story. A Muslim man from our community contacted our office and came and met with us in our office a few months back. He has a child in Plymouth Canton School District. He is a 4th grade child. And around the time of 9/11, this 4th grader, Muslim boy, along with other boys and girls of different backgrounds are in class, and his teacher, around the time of 9/11, makes the statement that after 9/11, Americans simply cannot trust Muslims. Saying this to a group of 4th graders. Americans simply cannot trust Muslims because of 9/11. And the type of marginalization that causes a 4th grader to feel in their school, and how this emboldens other children who aren't Muslim, especially white children, of how they treat people of color. This is toxic. So we listened. We were upset. Our office, with the leadership of Sister Aisha Noor, contacted Plymouth Canton School System. And from contacting them in a professional way, explained to them our problems, our grievances, in a very systematic way. Not only was that teacher moved out of that class, but we gave a training to educators throughout Plymouth Canton School District. And parents have been involved in trying to address things in Plymouth Canton School District in various ways. But it is something about having a professional organization. It's something about having the weight of CAIR, where CAIR is now a nationally recognized civil rights organization, that when CAIR calls and contacts certain people, they listen. And that's important for you to understand. You have in your community CAIR Michigan, and CAIR in general is like a junnah. Well, junnah in Arabic means shield. It's a shield. It's a shield for us to rally around. It's a shield for us that when our children come home and complain about school bullying, which school bullying has increased in the last couple of years in Michigan since the election of President Trump, by the way, that their parents can contact people who care and know what they're doing. Care and also know what they're doing. Our liberation as a community is not just simply about feelings. We need people with knowledge that understand the system and know how to go about doing things in a professional manner, ladies and gentlemen. Now, this is just one teacher. But there's also systemic issues, institutionalized issues. And one of the things that we've seen all throughout America that CAIR chapters have been dealing with, especially in Michigan, is organized efforts to block zoning of Islamic centers, Islamic schools, and expansion projects. Systematic. Last year, and we're representing a community who's trying to establish the first mosque in Troy. Picture that. Troy, Michigan brags about being the most diverse city in the state of Michigan of over 100,000 people. This is their claim to fame. We went in front of the Planning Commission for the establishment of the first masjid in Troy, and they voted down the masjid. And one of the planning commissioners had the audacity in front of a jam-packed room to say to our community, to say to us, with our children in there, ladies and gentlemen, there's other cities close by. Why can't you go and pray in Rochester Hills? Why can't you build your mosque somewhere else? There's other cities. There's other areas. We, right now, ladies and gentlemen, are representing the Adam Community Center in a federal lawsuit suing the city of Troy. We were just in court earlier this week, and the Department of Justice is in close communication with us. And God willing, inshallah, 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 we are going to defeat the city of Troy, that Islamophobia, and just as we won in Pittsfield Township with the Michigan Islamic Academy and got the largest settlement in Michigan history for the Michigan Islamic Academy for violation of our LUPA at the time, inshallah, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, we're going to be successful relating to Troy. We're going to be successful. Now, relating to New Zealand and our 50 martyrs who lost their lives because of a white supremacist who said that he found common ground in symbolic leadership and white identity with our president, President Donald J. Trump. This is what he wrote in his manifesto. Similarly, last month, and I'm a veteran of the U.S. Navy, but a Coast Guard officer, similar, planning terrorist attack, a white supremacist. And by the way, white supremacy is not real. It's a false ideology. There are people who are white supremacists. There are people who have established structures in our society based upon it, but it's a false idea. White people are not supreme. Black people aren't supreme. No people are supreme. Inna akramakum indallahi atqakum. We know that. We're taught that from our religion. This white supremacist, but this heightened rhetoric in the United States of America has found its way in Michigan, where hate crimes are up across the country, where we've had several different situations happen in our community. From last year, a mosque desecrated in Midland, Michigan, a little bit ways from here, and we service the entire state. A mosque desecrated in Midland, Michigan, to 2 arson attacks at one Islamic center on the east side of Detroit, and we still don't know who's behind that, to less than 2 weeks ago, an Arab American man came outside of his home on the way of work and had "sand nigger" written on his garage. And when I contacted Washtenaw County Sheriff, they said, well, we don't think this is a hate crime because it appears to be the suspect knows the victim. You see how things are dismissed? I asked the question, are they of the same ethnicity? Is the person that committed this attack, is he an Arab or is he a Muslim? No. Since when does "sand nigger" not have any hateful or racial implications? But we're facing this relating to sheriff departments and prosecutor offices, where people don't want to charge and prosecute. But we're going to keep forging on at CAIR Michigan, speaking up for our community's rights and making law enforcement uncomfortable when they are not doing their job. It is not un-American. It is not un-American to hold our authorities accountable. We are pro-law enforcement, but we are also anti-law enforcement abuse. We are also anti-law enforcement negligent. We are also anti-law enforcement targeting our communities at airports, which is why we have another lawsuit against the Department of Homeland Security in which we have found out their large profiling list and the watch lists which are surveilling Muslims from flying to even walking through the airports. We're going to do our best to try to hold all of these individuals accountable. We work with them in proactive and positive ways, but when they step out of line, we have no fear because we are equally American like everyone else. We are equally American as everyone else. To the young people in here, and I go to college campuses, get this mindset out of your mind or your jargon. When you talk about other people, white Americans in particular, you say those Americans. Oh, Bilal married an American girl. Well, where were you born? I was born in Dearborn. When you say Bilal married an American girl, you mean Bilal married a white Christian girl. That's what you mean. You're an American. He married an American Christian girl, perhaps is the better way of saying it, because you're an American. In conclusion, and sorry, I got off my script a little bit. I may be up here preaching a little bit like I'm on the minbar, so excuse me for raising my voice. But we have an urgent time right now, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters in Islam. And I ask you, in conclusion, for two things. الدعاء سلاح المؤمن وعماد الدين ونور السماوات والأرض. I ask for your sincere prayer. I ask for your prayers for CAIR Michigan staffers, for CAIR Michigan's board. When I mentioned this thing about us being a shield for the community, we are smeared. We are attacked. Sometimes there's threats against our lives. A former state senator, I'm not going to dignify his name, called me a terrorist on the state Senate floor, called me an extremist. I happen to live in his district. So make prayers for us, brothers and sisters. The second is we need your generous donations, and that's coming up. CAIR Michigan is a Zakat-eligible organization. Many of the people that we help are in financial constraints and binds and cannot afford an attorney on their own. They come to CAIR Michigan when they have almost lost all hope. Some people come to our door. And through your generous donations, your zakat and your sadaqah, we're able to help give them some hope that someone has their back. Anfiq ya ibn Adam unfiq alayk. Spend, O son of Adam, or daughter of Adam, and then I will spend on you. This is what God says. May Almighty Allah protect our community. May He protect our children from harm. May He accept the 50 people who were murdered as martyrs. May He pour His patience upon the family members of those who just lost their loved ones in New Zealand. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.